Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. It's me, Josh.
And I'm Kristie, and this is our co-host Odin the Turkey. Everyone tell him how handsome and delicious he looks.
It's a spooky Halloween episode, so let's get to our first story. Is this falling off again?
It's getting crooked.
Okay. Surprise, I had another mustache under that mustache.
Am I the asshole because I didn't drive around with my husband and kids to trick-or-treat on Halloween?
I feel like Halloween is a fun family activity up to a certain point, and then it's just whichever one of the parents has time. So it depends on how old the kids are, I guess?
I'm going to give a bit of backstory only because I think it's relevant. I've been married for 14 years to an incredible guy, and we ended up with 3 kids. 8 years old, 5 years old, and 3 years old. We both used to be pretty athletic pre-kids, and both picked up, I hate to say it, quite a bit of weight. I had a bit of a health scare after our 3rd kid was born, and I took my health more seriously and dropped a good bit of weight, along with feeling absolutely incredible in comparison to where I was before. I tried to take my husband on this journey with me, but he wasn't ready. He was half committed to the effort. So boom, it's Halloween. All the kids are dressed up, which was an exhausting effort in and of itself, and we are finally heading out when I see my husband sitting in the van waiting for us to pile in. I stood there surprised. We live in one of those cookie-cutter suburbia neighborhoods where we can walk door to door to all of our neighbors without being on a highway or something. I told him we could just walk instead of having to pile everyone in and out of the car and strapping in car seats between each house too. He was totally against it, said it would be much safer this way, and that it would be too much work to do all of that walking, complaining about being tired from work. Meanwhile, beside him, there's a pile of candy wrappers from him snacking on our Halloween candy we were leaving in a bowl.
Okay, I'm gonna cut in and add. I bet the kids would love to drive from house to house. You hit so many more houses when you drive.
I think you were thinking about this from a country standpoint because you grew up in the country. In suburbia, it is so much faster to walk house to house than to get in the car, drive 6 feet, park, get out, walk up to the house from the street.
No, what you do, well, I don't know about, dense city. You're right. We would drive to one neighborhood, do that neighborhood, jump back in the car, and then you drive to the next neighborhood. So I guess if you're in, city where it's just a bunch of blocks, it's probably better to walk.
Yeah, he wants to drive to the neighbor's house, and then to the next house, and then to the next house.
That seems extreme.
When they are 10 feet apart.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe is he planning on just following them in the car while they walk? Because that does seem like a lot of work.
At this point, I tell him if he's driving, he can follow behind us in the car. And he throws yet another mini chocolate in his mouth and says, fine. So I walked the entire night in my Wonder Woman costume with my Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, and Batman kids while he just watched us from the street. We got so many compliments and he wasn't part of the experience. One neighbor told me I was the real treat of the night because of my costume, and it helped cheer me up a little. He even put a...
was that not somebody being creepy?
Yeah, it was, but she likes it because she's like, oh yeah, I am hot, thank you, in my Wonder Woman costume.
Yeah.
I bet she's lost so much weight and is feeling good about herself, so she liked that compliment.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that neighbor's just being creepy. I don't like that. I would not like that. He even put a little airplane bottle of liquor in my candy bucket. Ha! We finish up and get home. Kids are in bed and we are sorting through the candy, checking to make sure it's all unopened. He sees the airplane bottle of liquor and kind of freaks out. I tell him that some guy gave it to me. What I didn't notice is that he had slipped his phone number in the bucket too.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I've seen people give out alcohol or something to the adults that are walking with, but the phone number is different.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
Basically, all hell broke loose. I'm telling him it's not my fault he flirted with me, but if he was there with me, maybe it wouldn't have happened. And my husband is all upset we didn't just ride with him, and I'm so over it. Then I tell him basically we don't all have to suffer because you don't want to help yourself be better. Am I the asshole?
This is kind of a tough one. Your husband should probably try to get in shape. That's just good advice for anyone, right? It sounds like he's not trying. You didn't come off as the most supportive partner, but it sounds like he's not trying, so it's hard to stay supportive. Also, husband way overreacted to some guy slipping you his phone number. You looked like a single mom walking with a bunch of kids.
I think everybody sucks here. The husband sucks for trying to drive 10 feet between each house.
Mm-hmm.
That is ridiculous. That is so much worse. You do more walking from the car up to each house than walking between each house, I feel.
I think so. In like a dense city environment, that's crazy.
Yeah, like in a suburban neighborhood, the houses are close enough together that walking between them is the fastest way to go. Driving does not decrease your time or the amount of walking you do, I think.
Yeah.
Unless the driver, him, stays in the car, which I think was his plan, but he wanted the kids to come back to the car between each house, which is not going to happen.
I've seen people do that. The parent is driving along in the car, watching as the kids go from house to house, and then at the end of the street, they pile back in the car and go to the next street. So that might have been his plan. But it does seem like a fun family activity to just walk. How out of shape is he that he can't walk a few blocks?
So I think he sucks for not getting behind the walking between houses plan, because that's what Halloween, that's part of Halloween. But she also sucks for the way she's reacting to this. She seems very condescending about her husband not being in shape and not wanting to get in shape, and you can't force someone to get in shape.
Yeah, it sounds like she really is holding a grudge that he didn't lose weight with her. Right?
Yeah, like she's like making fun of him for like eating the candy while he's waiting in the car and, not being willing to walk and stuff. And that does not seem supportive.
No, I mean, snacking on the Halloween candy that was supposed to be given to children at your house is a Halloween tradition.
Yes.
That's
not taking all of it, not cool, but sneaking a few pieces, expected.
Yeah, I expect every dad to just have a pile of wrappers next to him in the car, right?
Yes.
That's just the dad tax. And third, I'm going to say that the guy who gave out the phone number, also an asshole.
But he probably did think she was a single mom.
Still kind of a creepy comment before he handed her liquor and his phone number.
Yeah. She apparently was into it, though. I think that she's, probably had low self-esteem after having 3 kids and gaining a lot of weight. And now that she's lost the weight, she is feeling good about herself, and people flirting with her, even if they're creepy, is giving her a self-confidence boost, and she is loving it.
I mean, she said it made her night, so probably.
Yeah. Top comment. NTA, he's that asshole driving around a neighborhood while kids are walking around trick-or-treating. And now he's upset because his manhood has taken a hit.
Is that an asshole move, driving while your kids do the walking?
Yes.
I thought it was just you're out of shape.
No, that is an asshole move. It is so much more dangerous. Trick-or-treating is so dangerous for kids. I bet more kids get hit trick-or-treating than any other day of the year.
Probably.
By cars.
There's a lot of drunk drivers out that day, too.
So yeah, the dad, one of the reasons he wanted to drive was because it would be safer. Yeah, maybe for his kids, but he's putting all the other kids in the neighborhood in danger.
Ah, okay.
Someone agrees. I hate these assholes. It's definitely not safer. It creates more danger and unnecessary congestion. He's a lazy F and should have stayed home and passed out candy.
That is true. That candy bowl's gonna get robbed.
I do feel like at this point, he's just driving along behind them. He's not participating at all. He should have just stayed home and not, driven the car around the neighborhood and put all the other little kids in danger.
It doesn't really count as helping if you're just driving along and watching.
NTA, forget everything else. Why would anybody want to keep strapping a kid in a car seat between each house? Unless this cookie-cutter neighborhood is full of mini mansions that are hundreds of yards apart, I feel like more work is being done with the car seats than will be done for the walking.
It does sound like it if you're going to be driving from house to house. But
they gotta be really far apart.
But I think that they're correct. He was just going to drive along and watch while they walked. Because I feel like that would be way more exhausting than just walking if you had to pile them into car seats every time.
I think that's what the dad was expecting.
Oh. Well, then he's bad at planning.
NTA, I'm confused about why he even went. So he could watch you and the kids from the car? Something about this seems off. And someone replied, this way he can say he took the kids trick-or-treating without actually having to put in any effort. Because, mama would be hopping out and walking the kids up to each door and back into car seats. He's just making a lot more work for his wife, if this was his plan.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of getting credit for not doing any work, isn't it?
But I do really feel like she's also the asshole for how condescending she's being to her husband. And he is obviously a little bit insecure that he's still overweight and she lost weight and now looks a lot better than him. I think she could be more supportive of her husband, but not supportive of him driving along in the car behind her. Don't support that. That's dumb. Tell him that's dumb.
Yeah, it does kind of seem like he's not participating.
But don't make fun of him for being fat and lazy. Try and encourage him to be better. In a nice way, not a mean way.
Am I the asshole for causing a scene after I, 23 male, lost a costume contest to a dog? 3.
You caused a scene because you lost a costume contest? Are you like a toddler throwing a tantrum? You're 23, grow up. Of course the dog's gonna win the costume contest. Dogs are adorable. Everybody's gonna vote for the dog.
I am genuinely losing my mind here. So, I love Halloween. I love making costumes and put a lot of effort into it. My friend hosted a big Halloween party at her place and said there would be a costume contest for who had the best Halloween costume under $50. Third and second place would win $25, and first would win $50. So, not a huge money prize, but enough to offset the price of the costume, and to me, it was more about the fun of the game. I wanted to win, so I pulled out all the stops and went as Zorro from One Piece, and only had to buy $40 worth of material. When I got to the party, I saw other costumes, and there were some fierce competitors, but honestly, I think I had the best costume. I thought maybe it was too obscure to people who don't know anything about anime, and that might not go well. But it was a good costume.
Yeah, don't wear obscure characters if you want to win a costume contest.
Yeah, it's tough to win when nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
Although if there's any anime fans, they're gonna know who Zorro is.
If you say so. I don't know.
When the winners were announced, I got second. This bummed me out kinda, but hey, I still did well, and again, if I had went with something more ubiquitous, maybe people would have got it. However, the issue arose when they announced first place. First place was a dog dressed like a pirate in one of those shitty Party City pirate costumes.
Well, of course it's a shitty Party City costume. Nobody's going to hand make a costume for their dog. It's so hard. And your dog's going to eat it.
That's true. We can't put a costume on our dogs without them spinning around and trying to chew it off.
Yes, they would chew it off so fast. So they get to wear a costume for 5 minutes for pictures when we distract them with treats, and then the costume comes off so they do not destroy it.
So, if I had lost to another person, I wouldn't have cared. But I had a few drinks in me, and my inhibitions were lowered, and it was a fucking dog. So, I out loud asked the host, "Really? The dog won?" And she said yes, and was gushing about how cute he looked. I said that it was a dog, and it didn't even have a say in what it was going as. I told her this didn't seem exactly fair.
Of course the dog won. The dog is cute and adorable. Everybody thinks so, except you, because you are apparently a party pooper. And yeah, the dog didn't have a choice as what they went as, but they're also not going to be, like, enjoying the $50. It's going to the dog owner.
She told me to lighten up and that it was supposed to be fun. I told her that it's ridiculous she's about to give the $50 prize to the owner for spending $20 on a cheap Walmart dog costume, when me and whoever was in third place actually made our costumes. Whoever was in third place, I couldn't be bothered to listen.
They're so far beneath him. They're like a distant third. He obviously should have won first, though.
She got mad that I called her ridiculous, and things kind of escalated into a full-blown argument that required my friend breaking us up.
You are way too serious about, way too serious. You won $25. You're losing out on another $25 because the grand prize was $50. It's not that big of a deal. Why are you throwing this big of a hissy fit about $25? I think he did it's not just the money though, it's he wanted to be able to say he won the costume contest.
It's the indignity of losing to a filthy animal.
An adorable animal.
I was then kicked out of the party for embarrassing the host like that.
Yeah, you're like starting a fight. You're too drunk for this. You need to go home.
So, I don't think I'm the asshole because, obviously that's not fair. If it was a dog costume contest, sure. But having a bunch of people compete and lose to someone's inbred bulldog is so fucking unfair. I think I was justified in saying what I said. People there said I should have just taken the 25 and called it a day. Am I the asshole?
Yes. What would have been unfair was you winning a dog costume contest. But this was not specified as a human costume contest. It was open to all species because it was never specified. So that dog had just as much of a right to win as this guy.
You said that with such conviction, like a lawyer on stand. The dog is allowed to play basketball.
Yes, like Air Bud. There are no rules that say a dog cannot compete.
Yeah, he got by on the Air Bud clause. There's no rule against it, so therefore I can do it. I mean, OP is clearly the asshole for having the flip out.
Yeah.
I think party host, also an asshole. This is one of my pet peeves. Whenever a child or a dog or something cute enters a contest, they auto win.
That is true.
And I hate it. I know that makes me sound like some angry, child-hating old man.
Uh-huh.
But there have been so many contests that I've seen where they're like one dad turned up and his kid entered, and the kid wins because everyone's too nice to knock the kid out of the contest, and then they're like, good job, Timmy, you did so good.
Yes, like the ultimate Josh competition.
Oh my god, yes. Do you remember Josh Fight? You know who won Josh Fight? Some little kid. He won because none of the other Joshes were too cold-hearted to knock him out of the competition, right? They set up like an obstacle course, and they had like a battle royale, and the little kid won because, obviously, none of the other Joshes were willing to take out a kid because Joshes are kind-hearted people.
Apparently, except you. You would have knocked that kid out.
No, I wouldn't have. I would have just silently been mad about it because I'm like, we were here to fight, and you brought someone I can't punch. I think it was foam swords or something. It was not punching. Yeah. But I feel like...
You also want to win, though.
I also want to win.
You are making this an unfair competition by bringing a kid in that I feel guilty for knocking out.
I mean, you make it... I was far too lazy to actually go to Josh Fight.
Yeah. I was like a few states away.
You derailed me completely.
With Josh Fight? Talk about Josh Fight.
Sorry, back on topic. You're obviously the asshole for losing your temper over losing to a dog in what is like the most casual Halloween costume contest. Clearly in this context, I think everyone expected the dog to win.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, that owner probably brought the dog because they're like, well, I know host really likes dogs, so if I turn up with a dog in a costume, she's gonna love it. You didn't pay an entry fee, so you just got $25 and you went to a party.
But he spent $40 on his costume, and he was expecting to earn that money back because his costume is the best.
I don't know. So Zorro requires swords to be authentic, and like you can't get 3 swords for the under $40.
Unless you get those dollar store foam ones, which do not look good.
Yeah, so how good could your costume have actually been? Top comment, you're the asshole. I respect the work you put into your costume for the money you saved doing so. I also understand that you were frustrated with the whole situation, and the alcohol didn't help, but here's the thing. You lost to a dog, get over it. Your friend clearly likes dogs over people, and regardless of what the dog was dressed as, it probably would have won anyway. You recouped some of the money you spent. Apologize to your friend, the dog owner, and anyone else you got into an argument with. There will be other Halloween parties in the future. Maybe just accept the invites for ones that are no pets allowed. Someone replied to that. I think OP is actually a cat.
That would make sense.
Someone else agreed. Cats are quite petty.
He was very indignant about not being named the best and coolest costume. That seems very cat-like behavior. Very indignant.
You're the asshole. How old are you to be this pissed off at coming second place in a Halloween costume contest? You can't be 23. Seriously, people lose to toddlers, dogs, cats, even a plant or two. It's seriously not a big deal unless you're attending an actual competition, not some fun thing set up in someone's house. If you can't regulate your emotions, then you deserve to be kicked out of every party you attend. That's true. Like a really casual competition like this, the gimmick always wins. Like, yeah. Hey, they brought a dog. Like, if somebody entered a plant, that plant probably would have gotten second place, because somebody's like, you brought a plant? That's hilarious.
It is. Yeah, I was thinking as you read that, I'd be really mad if I lost to a plant. And then I was like, actually, no, probably I really wouldn't be mad, because I'd be like, whoever had the idea to bring a plant and enter it into this costume competition, they're a genius.
Yes, but the plant does need a costume, right?
It has to be a good costume, too.
I don't know about good costume. I just think they need to put a mustache on the plant.
I was like, it needs to be either funny or elaborate. But it can be like, a mustache is funny. Yeah. That would win.
But that logic only works for, like, contests at the level of, like, casual little Halloween party, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're at some actual competition, then, yeah, have a fair fight.
Am I the asshole for uninviting 25 family members to my wedding 6 weeks to showtime?
This is the Halloween episode,
It is
Kristie.
Halloween themed, I promise.
No, you're not the asshole. Uninvite or invite whoever you want to your wedding.
I have had this Halloween wedding planned for 2 years. The venue I wanted has a wait list. All of a sudden, my mom and grandma decided the wedding was satanic and want me to make last-minute changes. I told my mom and grandma a firm no. 2 years my family has known about this, and because I have told them, now half of my mom's side thought they would be cute and say they aren't coming in a random ass power struggle. We can't come to your wedding, it is satanic, for it falls on All Hallows Eve.
Okay, and then people are just joining in and egging them on because they like the drama, it sounds like?
Yeah.
Nice. You got a great family.
I told them fine and canceled everyone's invitations who complained or backed my mom or grandma on this. One of my sisters acted like she stepped out of the bridesmaid duty, so I replaced her. It was about 25 people that decided to act stupid at less than the 6-week mark, so I sent out uninvited invitations and sent out a new QR code for those attending, and the venue will check in by only those to let people in.
I think these people don't understand that you don't stress the bride out this close to a wedding. Because she's gonna react hard.
But her wedding is satanic!
Yeah, I think maybe mom and grandma actually thought that and no one else.
But I want to know why they've known for 2 years she's having a Halloween wedding. Why are they waiting till 6 weeks before to be like, it's satanic?
I don't know. Somebody probably said something to them, right?
My aunt, who is one of the uninvited, told me that people are allowed to disagree with me, and that doesn't mean I can pull an invitation from a wedding that they have made plans to attend.
Yes, it does. You absolutely can uninvite anyone for any reason. It's your party.
Also, they're like threatening not to come unless she changes it so it's not satanic anymore. And now they're upset because they can't come when they threatened not to come. You weren't coming anyway, so what do you care if you're uninvited?
Yeah, you almost have to uninvite them just because you're afraid they're going to do something stupid and leave you with the cost of their plate at the wedding, right? Like, if somebody doesn't turn up, you still have to pay for their seat.
Yeah.
And that's like $100. Probably more these days. So, I would almost do it just for the sake of my wallet, because that's like $2,000.
I think they're really mad because, yeah, they threatened not to come, but they didn't really mean that because they thought she would just cave and change the wedding so it's not satanic anymore and then they could still come. They thought they could bully her into changing. And now that she's just like, nope, uninvited, they're like, hey, that's not fair.
Yeah,
You're supposed to cave.
It does sound like that, doesn't it?
I told my aunt they had 2 years for complaints, but saying you are not going at 6 weeks before my wedding is bullshit. And everyone fucked around and found out, and I will not be bullied by my family over this.
Your family sucks.
Am I the asshole?
No, I kind of like your reaction. It's always refreshing when people get their comeuppance.
Yes.
I have a lot of respect for the people that turn up on Reddit asking if they're the asshole for something that they already did. Like, you committed, and I respect that. A lot of people turn up and being like, would I be the asshole if I uninvited them? No, you put your foot down and you held your ground. You get so many points in my book for having that, like, self-confidence to kick these people out of your wedding.
Yeah, she was like, fine.
Yeah.
She just went ahead and did it.
I don't like you guys anyways, honestly. That's why I'm marrying into this new, better family.
One of the top comments. Fuck yeah, this is the kind of assertiveness I want to see more of when people are dealing with unreasonable family members.
Hell yes!
I love how the aunt is saying, how dare you disinvite me from a wedding I planned on going to, when she's responding to her literally saying, I won't go. So the bride said okay and gave her an invitation to somebody who wanted to go. Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, right? You are allowed to disagree with me all day. I respect your freedom of speech. Also, it has consequences.
NTA, Mom and Grandma decided to intentionally blow up your wedding. Then they rallied their little army to put pressure on you. I would wager a bet this isn't the first time you've had a run-in with them over trying to control your life. Total bully antics. I just want to know what sparked this in Mom and Grandma 6 weeks before the wedding. Why did they not have a problem with it for the 2 years leading up to it and suddenly right before? Are they just really terrible people and want to derail her wedding? I don't understand.
I don't know, I can only come up with guesses. Like, maybe they thought she would change her mind and have a righteous church wedding, you know? Or they talked with somebody at church or the church group who said it was satanic, and they're like, oh, it is satanic, you're right. Like, the fact that they are boycotting your wedding makes me think they aren't the type to just quietly suffer, right? So something probably changed their mind.
They are allowed to disagree with you from the comfort of their own homes. Telling someone their wedding is 1, satanic, and 2, needs to change is not disagreement. It is a request that you alter your wedding to suit them. And you are perfectly within your rights to decline to spend your day with people judging you that hard.
Yeah, I agree. You're better off not having toxic people at your wedding.
Am I the asshole for kicking my boyfriend's girl best friend out of my Halloween party because of her costume?
I mean, without knowing what the costume is, it kind of sounds like you're the asshole. But I can think of some costumes that are very worth kicking somebody out for.
I, 19 female, had my Halloween party over the weekend. I invited my boyfriend, 21 male, and a bunch of our friends over, including his girl best friend. I will call her AITAH.
Sorry, I feel like that would be mean if this wasn't a Halloween post.
My boyfriend and I decided to dress up as Peter Pumpkin Eater. If you haven't seen the costume, the guy wears a shirt that says Peter, and the girl dresses up as a pumpkin because, well, you know.
I was thinking it had to be something gross, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of couples costumes like that. I don't want to think about you guys doing stuff like that. Keep that to yourselves.
No, this is a very college level costume. This is normal.
Still gross. Maybe I'm a bit of a prude, I guess.
I guess you're old. You're turning into an old bitter woman, Kristie. This party is satanic. You should kick everyone out of it.
I was pretty excited just because I thought it was funny and cute costume. AITAH texted me the night before the party and asked what my costume was going to be. I explained the couple's costume my boyfriend and I would be wearing, and she replied that she would probably just come over as a sexy cat. Fast forward to the night of the party, everyone is having fun, and it's a nice time. Well, it was, until AITAH walked in, dressed as a pumpkin.
Fucking AITAH.
She went over and hugged my boyfriend. I swear the room went silent. I was pissed. I asked if I could speak with her privately, and we went into my bedroom. I asked why she chose that costume since she knew the details of the joint costume between my boyfriend and I. She said she didn't see the big deal and thought it would be a better group costume.
This is a statement, right?
A group costume?
Yeah, a group costume.
This is not supposed to be a group costume.
Calling it a group costume is also a statement.
I told her I didn't think it was funny and I would prefer that she change. I offered her a witch costume that she could borrow for the night. She turned red and started to yell that I don't get to control what she wears. I told her that she was disrespecting my relationship by insinuating that my boyfriend and her have sex. She kept screaming about how it was funny and I needed to lighten up. I ended up asking her to leave. She stormed out of the house and I returned to the party. The mood had shifted and the night felt ruined. My boyfriend agrees that she crossed the line and is planning on cutting her off completely. But a few of our friends are saying that I was being dramatic and I should have let her stay. I guess I'm just wondering, am I the asshole? There is an update, but first, what do you think?
I mean, that was a hell of a statement she made, I feel. I don't think you're the asshole for getting mad at her or for kicking her out when she, acted like that when you called her out on it and I even offered her another costume. I feel like that costume makes me suspicious of your boyfriend. I don't think he did anything in that story to make me feel suspicious, but the fact that she walked in a pumpkin costume when she knew the context, now I'm wondering about boyfriend.
She is outing their secret with this costume.
Yeah, right? That sounds like she's just saying, I'm sick of being the side piece here. We need to make this a group.
She does have an edit where she answers some questions. Has she done things like this before? This is the first time she has ever done anything like this. We always hug and chat when we see each other. It was extremely out of character. Do they have a sexual history? He said that nothing sexual has ever happened between them. I do trust him because he was honestly shocked she would pull something like that since she has always treated me with kindness.
I'd be awfully shocked too if the girl I was sleeping with came dressed in a costume that just says, hey, we're sleeping together. But I have heard zero evidence that that's true, so maybe I don't need to be throwing bro under the bus, but every time I talk about it like this, you give me little looks like, wait till the update.
It could just be that she is in love with her best friend, who is OP's boyfriend, and wants to be in a relationship with him, and is trying to break them up.
Yep, you know what? Innocent until proven guilty. I'm rooting for you, guy. I'm hoping that it doesn't turn the way I think it's gonna.
We are currently texting about how to move forward. He wants to completely cut her off because of this. It was completely out of character, so I'm wondering, could it have been a one-time thing? She has never shown interest before, and she has normally been really kind. Sometimes people make mistakes, like me blowing up completely, but I'm letting him make the decision completely on his own. I'm not pushing him one direction or the other. It really seems like he is done with the friendship and with whoever said I was wrong.
I mean, it's his best friend. If he wants to go so far as to cut her off, I would let him make that call. I might intervene if I thought my partner was going too soft on his friend.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's going too hard, I might be like, well, he might have a reason for this beyond just this one thing, so it's your choice.
Update, 2.5 weeks later. He is no longer friends with her. She showed her true colors and they are no longer speaking.
Cool. Sounds like it ended on a good note. We don't have to read any more, right?
Update 3 months after that.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I have an update. I meant to post one a few months ago, but I really needed time to process the events that occurred after this whole ordeal. I'm glad I waited, though, because you all need to hear this one.
I'm not sure I do. I feel like I can guess it. Go ahead, though.
Many people pointed out that my boyfriend must be sleeping with AITAH since she went absolutely bonkers for seemingly no reason. I thought since he immediately took my side and blocked her on everything that you were wrong. Well, it was me who was wrong. It turns out that AITAH and my boyfriend had been sleeping together for months, and they were just really good at hiding it.
Who could have seen that coming? Shocked face, yeah.
Until she decided that she didn't want to be his mistress anymore. Can you see that's quotes?
Yeah, it's great.
Mistress anymore. I found this out when I was at his house and hanging out in his room. He was showering after a workout and I heard this vibrating noise. He had taken his phone and mine was right next to me, so I couldn't figure out what it was. I opened his bedside table drawer and found a second phone.
Wow, I assumed he would just, change her number in his contacts to a different name. No, he got a second phone.
Steve.
Yeah.
This is now Steve. Nothing suspicious going on with Steve.
No, it's just Steve. You know Steve. He's always asking if I'm up. Just really wants to know if I'm sleeping yet.
My gut told me that something wasn't right. Why would he have a second phone? It didn't take me long to guess his password. 123. Really? And my fears were confirmed.
My guy, you could have just gone 125 and she'd never have gotten in.
There was a missed call from AITAH. I looked through the messages and found out the truth. Not only had they been sleeping together, she recently found out that she was pregnant. This was the reason she pulled the stunt on Halloween. She was trying to force his hand. I also saw that he was messaging other girls as well. I was completely devastated. After his shower, he found me grabbing all of my belongings and putting them in my bag. He asked why I was leaving, and I told him because we were finished. I threw his phone on the bed, and he looked like he was going to vomit. He started pleading me to hear him out, but I didn't want to hear it. He could have all those other girls. I didn't want him anymore. He followed me out of the house, shaking and crying. He even followed me all the way to my car, trying to block my path. I went over the grass around him and didn't look back.
He's trying awfully hard to keep you when he's got so many other girls.
Yeah, you think if he wanted to keep her that bad, he just wouldn't cheat on her.
Yeah, you think so.
He sent me a long message about how he never wanted to hurt me, that he wanted me back, and how he was using his work phone to text all these women so I wouldn't find out.
Oh, that's okay then.
That was really helpful. I sent his boss a nice little message about how company property was being misused, and I saw on LinkedIn he no longer works for that company anymore. I have blocked him on everything now. I hope him and AITAH have a magical life with their baby. Oh, I heard through the grapevine that he got one of the other women pregnant too. I'm glad I dodged that bullet.
Wow. He, is very good at hiding things, I guess, up to this point. Up until AITAH threw him under the bus, either he's excellent at hiding things, or you just were not looking. I'm sorry. It sounds like there's a lot going on.
She missed a lot. I'm sure there were red flags.
Right?
There had to have been if he's got this many side girls.
Yeah.
As for me, I'm currently in therapy working on my trust issues and learning how to love myself again after this situation. I have been putting myself out there again and have cut contact with anyone who knew what was happening behind my back. Thank you all for the love and support.
How many people knew?
A lot of people, I guess.
I mean, apparently a lot of women knew at least one part of his web. That's rough.
Top comment. This is why you need to finish the whole nursery rhyme before making your costume.
What is the rest of the what is the nursery rhyme even? I can't remember.
Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife and couldn't keep her. Put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. But there's a second verse, too. Peter, pumpkin eater, had another and didn't love her.
Oh.
Moral of the story, research your Halloween costume.
That's a little on the nose, isn't it?
And then people are like, damn, I didn't realize a children's nursery rhyme got this dark or this sexual. And then other people are like, dude, all of them are.
All of them are, yeah. Yeah, Mother Goose has a dark sense of humor. Am I the asshole for not taking down our Halloween decorations?
Dude, you got like 1 week after Halloween to take those decorations down before I get mad.
That is a good point. Not what this is about.
Oh, okay.
My husband and I moved into this neighborhood about 2 years ago after we got married. We haven't been able to celebrate Halloween the last 2 years due to COVID. It's our favorite holiday, so this year we decided to go all out. We filled our yard with tombstones and skeletons. All of our bushes and trees are wrapped in fake webbing, the tree closest to the street having a huge 6-foot spider dangling from its limbs. The final touch was a huge rope web. We added extra webbing to fill it out, and it hangs from our roof all the way out to the street. We're not into gory stuff, so we got a couple of cute fuzzy spider decorations to place around the yard. It took us hours to decorate, and we were so excited. My husband looked like a kid in a candy store.
That's cute.
Yesterday, while my husband was at work, I heard a knock on my door. It turned out to be my neighbor. He looked absolutely frantic. I didn't even have a chance to ask what was happening when he yelled in my face, "You need to take all this shit down."
What a grumpy neighbor. Where's his Halloween spirit?
I was really taken aback. This neighbor has always been very nice to us. I've seen other houses decorate in the past few years, maybe not to this extent, but I know it's not against our HOA rules. I decided to ask if that was his issue just in case. He looked at me completely dumbfounded and started going off. "Cut the crap. You need to put all this away. My wife has arachnophobia. Your yard practically gave her a heart attack this morning."
From giant fake fuzzy spiders?
And the webbing, I suppose.
That seems a little extreme.
I kind of fucked up here and laughed. I didn't think our purple fuzzy spiders with big googly eyes would even scare the little kids in the neighborhood. You're pulling my leg, right?
I would have laughed too.
He got in my face and practically stepped into my house. "You're going to scare my wife to death. If you and your husband don't take all this shit down, I'm reporting you. I'm a retired police officer and I can make this a real problem for you." I started seeing red and getting really uncomfortable because I was completely home alone and my husband wouldn't be home for hours. Even if I wanted to take it down, it would be impossible without his help. Listen, this is our first time getting to celebrate Halloween in our house, and we've really put a lot into our yard. We don't even have any gory or graphic decorations. None of our spiders even look realistic. Can we please not do this right now? He responded, "I don't give a shit. Take it down or else." He didn't really give me a chance to answer. He just started walking back to his yard. Our decorations are not scary. Other neighbors have even said our yard is cute. We also spent a few $100s decorating. It would be a huge waste to take it all down. I haven't told my husband yet because I know he's petty and will throw a fit, and probably decorate with even more spiders out of spite.
Oh, he's just like you!
I refuse to take down our decorations. This is really important to us, and I just want to enjoy my favorite holiday with my husband. Am I the asshole?
No, not the asshole. I feel like if this arachnophobia of the neighbor's wife is such a big deal, one, she should be in therapy, and two, how does she go out at all in the month of October? Because there are spider stuff everywhere for Halloween. Dunkin' Donuts has spider donuts. Like, how does she leave the house?
Yeah, I feel like their yard decorations are at the level of fear that a Dunkin' Donut would
She
induce,
said
right?
fuzzy with googly eyes. I'm like, they're like, I'm sure they are adorable spiders. Like, super cartoony, not at all realistic. That shouldn't scare anyone.
Probably this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Halloween is supposed to be a little scary. And the webbing wasn't even that, like, terrifying, it sounds like.
No.
It's not like you went to, and got one of those pressure plate things that, like, jumps out and yells boo or anything.
No, those are scary, but,
Yeah.
you know, but still, you expect those at Halloween, too. Like, I don't think any neighbor should complain about those.
No, unless you're running it at, like, midnight and it's making noise, but this is just spider decorations in front of your house.
Mm-hmm.
Seems very normal to me. Her arachnophobia is a little much. I'm usually not the type to tell people with a phobia, like, hey, suck it up.
Yeah.
She needs to suck it up. And husband, reacting that strongly about it? You can't just go and threaten your neighbors.
No, that is not neighborly. And they can probably also file, like, harassment, stuff with the police because, but I don't know, because he's a former police officer or whatever he said, so. But still, I would file something and have it on record that he came onto my property and threatened me and was yelling at me and getting all up in my face.
Yeah, it's good to have some sort of record in place in case he vandalizes your yard.
Also, get some Ring cameras or something for your front yard. So, and then if he does come back and threaten you again, you have it on camera. So, or vandalizes any of your stuff.
So there's a really short update.
Okay.
I talked to my husband about it, and we're installing a Ring doorbell this weekend. I'll be taking out with the HOA and documenting everything that happens going forward.
Very smart.
Very smart, right? Top comment. Not the asshole, but he is. I would call and report he was making threats. And then there's some discussion below that. This is important. He made a threat by implying his connections, law enforcement specifically, would give you a hard time. He cannot do that.
You think as a police officer, he would know that's not allowed and illegal?
I mean, I guess he expects that his friends
will let it slide. That's why she needs to get that Ring camera and document him threatening her again.
Not the asshole. Firstly, because this guy was incredibly aggressive and threatening instead of making a polite request for accommodation. And secondly, while I appreciate people have irrational fears, lots of people put up spiders around Halloween. If his wife can't even walk past your house with its cartoonish spiders, she may want to talk to someone. I recommend you record this incident and invest in a front door camera in case this man comes to harass you again. I think everyone's going to say that. That's just a good idea. I think you also need to give out Dunkin' Donuts spider donuts for Halloween.
I would just take them over to my neighbor as an apology. I am so sorry that my Halloween decoration scared your wife. Here, have some donuts. And then she opens up the box and it's all those spider donuts. Ah!
I love the scream. That was a very realistic.
Am I the asshole for making my daughter return a Halloween costume?
I mean, I can think of a lot of reasons that you might have to make your daughter return a Halloween costume, so I guess I'll withhold my judgment for now.
You're no fun.
Okay, fine. You're not the asshole. That costume was dumb. How about that? No one knows who Howdy Doody is these days, and your daughter needs to get with the times. That's my take on it.
Okay, weird take, but let's read the story. This happened in October, and my daughter is still acting cold and hardly speaking to me. My daughter, female, 16, works an after-school job 5 days a week. Her high school had a costume contest for Halloween. My daughter and her friends planned a group costume to enter. She went with her friends after school to buy costumes. I picked her and her friends up from the store, and they showed me their costumes. My daughter spent $80 on hers. I was pissed. That's a lot of money to spend on something you're going to wear for a few hours. Very irresponsible use of money.
Oh, wait, this is just about the money? I was so certain it was going to be like, oh, it's really skimpy, or something like that.
That is an inappropriate costume.
Yeah, no, it's just $80. $80 is just how much it costs to buy a costume.
I was like, that seems pretty reasonable for a Halloween costume.
It's just the norm. Like, if you go to Halloween City or whatever, like, the cheap costumes are $60.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the very cheapest I would expect is $40, but that was like a few years ago. Prices have gone up. Yeah, now they're $60.
Yeah, right? They are gouging you at those stores, and they know it. We know it. If you don't want to make your own costume, it's just going to cost $80. And she can wear it again next year.
Very irresponsible use of money. I told her as much in the car. Told her it was ridiculous. I dropped her friends off and took her back to the store to return the costume and accessories.
Oh, and she got accessories too? For $80, that's not bad. If she got accessories as well.
Her friends found someone else to take her place in the group, and they won a contest and a $100 Visa gift card to split. My daughter came home from school on Halloween upset. She claimed she had to sit and watch while her friends had fun and she missed out on everything. I pointed out to her after splitting the gift card it would be way less than she spent on the costume, and it was only a few hours. But she didn't want to listen to reason.
You sound like a really fun parent.
Now, a month later, and she is still moody and mostly ignoring me. My ex-husband told me I made her miss out and she worked so much she missed out on a lot of stuff with her friends. And I could have let her have this. But at the end of the day, I saved her $80. I'm just trying to teach my daughter how to be responsible with money. She could have gotten a cheap costume, especially since she would have only worn it for a few hours.
Okay. I feel like you are not in the spirit of Halloween, and also, did your daughter buy this with the money from her job?
Yes, the daughter bought it with her own money.
Why can't she just do something fun for a few hours? There's lots of things that cost a lot of money that you only do for a few hours, right?
Yes.
You spend probably $20 to go see a movie these days. And she gets to keep the Halloween costume. It's not like it goes away. I guess I don't get her logic. Like, you want to teach her the value of $1, but you also want her to understand that if you work, you can buy things that you want. And you can have these experiences, right?
Yes. Like, there is a reason to working. It's not just doom and gloom and no fun all the time working. You work so you can do fun things.
Yeah, it's not just look at the number going up in my bank account. It's, hey, I'm out there living my life a little. Like, your daughter is not learning independence if the first time she tries to do something fun with her money, you shut it down and say, no, I'm the boss.
Top comment, you're the asshole. Congrats. You just strained your relationship with your daughter for $80 that wasn't even yours. Hope it was worth it. What mom thought she was teaching. 1, how to make responsible decisions about money. 2, how sacrifices need to be made for the future. But what mom actually taught her daughter was 1, it's better to lie to her mom about how much things cost so as to avoid being humiliated in front of her friends. 2, don't include mom in decisions, especially ones that involve money. 3, don't share plans with mom in case she tries to control the outcome. 4, save up as much money as she can so she can move out ASAP.
Yeah, it sure sounds like your daughter learned the lesson of ask dad next time.
You are the asshole. Your daughter works. She earns money. Her money. As long as her obligations are taken care of, what does it matter if she splurges $80 on a costume? She can reuse it another time. Just being her parent doesn't give you control of money she earns through her work. And then people are replying like, yeah, she's paying $80 to have a great time with her friends. WTF. I really thought OP was going to say that daughter spent like $1,000 on the costume or something, and that she also needs to pay for gas for her car. But nope, you're the asshole.
Yeah, it's not a ton on a Halloween costume, I don't think.
Daughter is going to remember this for the rest of her life and hold this against you. She'll be 40 and be like, yeah, mom, that time that you wouldn't let me have a Halloween costume and enter a costume contest with my friends, and I missed out on all the fun and was left out of the friend group, and then nobody liked me because you're a big fat party pooper.
That's exactly what's going to happen. She's never going to forget this. This is a core memory now.
Yes.
It sounds like you had no problem with the costume that she picked out. Your only problem was that she spent $80 on something fun.
That is a waste of money.
Yeah. How much does it cost to attend an escape room? It's like $50 a person.
How much does it cost to go to a concert?
A lot.
Yeah, depending on how big the band is or what kind of seats you get, it's going to be super expensive. And that's like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's the same amount of time. So your logic is really flawed, in my opinion. You just aren't a fun person.
Yeah, mom is a big fat party pooper. Like, I feel like mom doesn't remember what it's like to be a teenager and to be left out of an activity that your friends are doing.
Right?
It is devastating at that age.
It really is. There are reasons to put your foot down and say, like, hey, not this year, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think her spending 80 of her own dollars is one of them at all.
I also feel like even if it was a ridiculous amount of money, it's her money. And maybe this is something where you just let her learn the lesson that she spent all this money now, and then later when she wants something else and doesn't have the money, you're like, well, if you had managed your money better and didn't buy that stupid Halloween costume, you might be able to do this other thing now. But you didn't think ahead.
That's very true.
At some point, you gotta let your kids manage their own money and find out, through mistakes, how to budget.
Yeah, there's some real value in, like, hey, this isn't going to hurt her at all. She's going to lose some money, worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Let her learn her lesson.
So OP is definitely the asshole. Everyone on Reddit agrees, and I feel bad for her daughter.
Am I the asshole for telling my mom it wasn't cute or funny to dress me as a hot dog instead of a princess?
It would be devastating if you wanted to be a pretty, pretty princess and your mom was like, nope, you're a hot dog. Funny to the adults, devastating to the child.
So there's this new Target commercial going around where a little girl dresses as a hot dog, and it came on while my family was watching a scary movie. I, 20 female, am home from college for the weekend and brought my boyfriend. And my mother, 57 female, decided it would be hilarious to mention that she'd made me a hot dog costume as a kid. Except the way she told the story, it was my request. She said that all the girls wanted to be Disney princesses, but I had asked to be a hot dog, and so she'd gone out of her way to make me that costume. Once again, core memory was formed.
Yes. That's not how that happened.
This is not what happened, and I said as much. What actually happened is that I wanted to be Snow White, and had told everyone, including the teachers, that I was going to be Snow White. I was obsessed with that movie as a kid, to the point where I would actually get invested in doing chores because I was cleaning up just like Snow White. My dad and I would watch that movie all the time, and I was very excited to be Snow White for Halloween, especially because my ballet studio was doing a special princess dance for Halloween, and we'd all signed up for special princess slots. And I'd shown up early with my dad the week before so I could get to be Snow White.
She really wanted to be a princess.
Instead, she's a dancing hot dog.
And everybody else around her is Disney princesses, and she's a hot dog.
I love that so much. I'm sorry that you were traumatized as a child, but I want to see the home video.
I want to see the video too. And this is something that would be hilarious if the child had chosen it.
It's hilarious to everyone but the child, right? My mother decided that she wanted to be quirky and that Snow White was a bad role model after I got in trouble for trying to cook dinner for my family. I was about 8 and I tried to make hot dogs, like how she made food for the dwarves in the movie, and I made a mess. My mom surprised me on the day of with this crappy hot dog suit and told me if I didn't wear it, she'd never let me watch Snow White again.
Betrayal! That is devastating.
She took a million pictures. The other girls teased me for months, and it was one of the most humiliating moments of my childhood.
How old was she? Does it say how old she was? I'm sorry.
She was 8 when she tried to cook dinner, so I assume around that age, 8 or 9.
Okay.
I told the real story and mentioned that I got through the day by pretending that she was the evil queen, making me dress in rags.
I love that.
But the rags happened to be a garbage meat costume. She got really quiet after that, and after we left, my brother says she was crying and looking at the pictures from that Halloween. I didn't want to make my mom cry, but it's a shitty memory for me, and it felt like she was trying to humiliate me all over again in front of my boyfriend. So, is she the asshole?
Not the asshole. Your mom was an asshole, though. And I like how she's rewritten it in her head so that this is what you wanted, when really she had to threaten you to wear the costume by taking away your favorite movie. Like, what a way to break your child's trust.
That is such mom revisionist history, isn't it? Like, that's not how I remember it.
Yeah. I think mom needs to own up to her past mistakes and realize parents aren't perfect, but this was a big mess up on her part just because she wanted to be quirky. And, we don't like princesses. They're too mainstream and not good role models because they're into and they're, we're feminists.
Well, apparently
you get to be a hot dog.
Well, apparently she was a bad role model because she encouraged an 8-year-old to try to cook and use the stove without supervision.
I think what the mom is really upset about is that she's perpetuating, the gender roles.
Yes.
Of women do the cooking and cleaning, and she doesn't want her daughter to learn that.
It just so
happened that, because she's young, she made a mess in the kitchen and because she didn't know what she was doing.
I assume that's part of it, too. Yeah. Reddit agrees. She's not the asshole, but mom is.
Yeah.
Top comment. Not the asshole. Wow. What a shit move by your mom and to an 8-year-old. I'm glad you told the truth and stood up for yourself. I hope she learns. Geez, what a witch. I'm sorry that happened. OP replied to that. I hadn't thought about it in ages until I saw that commercial, honestly.
I'm wondering, after she left, her mom was looking at the old photos and crying. Does mom looking at the photos now and realizing that her daughter looks absolutely miserable in that hot dog costume in those photos?
Maybe. I like this comment, too. My mom made me dress as a clown. I am scared of clowns.
Oh no!
She also didn't explain how the costume came off, and I publicly peed myself.
Oh no!
OP replied to that, okay, you win.
No, I do definitely think it is that mom wants to feel like she's weird and quirky and nonconforming, and like she has a daughter who is weird and quirky and nonconforming and doesn't want a daughter who is liking princesses like all the other little girls.
OP pretty much said the same thing in one of her replies.
Mm-hmm.
She hated Snow White and Cinderella and Aurora. She was kind of okay with Belle and really pushed Mulan and Merida on me. But those weren't the ones I was interested in. She generally hated everything I liked and was really into the whole Cinderella ate my daughter thing. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either, but it sounds like the mom is like jumped on the super feminist train and you're not allowed to have role models who fit the gender norms because we are anti-gender norms and so we want fighting girls like Mulan. No, nobody who does housework like Cinderella. We're shooting bows and arrows like Merida.
She wanted us to be allies against the other moms in the town we lived in, and I just wanted to be like the other moms, honestly, because they were nicer. Wow. She wanted a different kind of kid than I was. It got a little better once I hit high school and she turned her focus on my brother and finally let me try out for cheerleading instead of basketball. But middle school and before, she was constantly trying to mold me into some sort of counterculture girl who she could say was so much smarter and better than the other girls. It made it hard to make friends, and once I had those friends, it felt like she was sabotaging it constantly because she thought they were beneath me for having the same interests I had.
It sounds like mom needs therapy.
OP's in her 20s now, so she's moved out.
Yeah, but it still sounds like mom needs therapy. You can't mold your children into exactly who you want them to be. You gotta let your kids be their own persons, even if it doesn't, fit with what you want them to be exactly.
And one last comment. Your mom sounds like a real wiener.
All right, that's our last spooky story in this Halloween episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time. He looked very offended that I stole a piece of his costume.
That was his leggy. Give him his leggy back.
This is still crap. Take this off him.